Yes, I am manifesting Scott Patterson.
We'll call you directly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Haley,
Send me a DM.
Did you want to come?
I follow your coffee business on Instagram and your podcast. I am all in. This is my message to Scotty P. Luke Danes, let us come to your live. We'll still go because it's going to look so cool. Yeah. We have to.
It's also the set of so many things.
Exactly.
Like, it would just be cool in general. I think.
Yeah. The fact that we haven't done it yet is crazy.
I know.
Hi!
We call this we call this meeting of the Fangirls Club. We hereby call this meeting of the Fangirls Club to order. I'm Brielle.
And I'm Haley. And welcome to this is going to be like our second episode where we talk about the Wicked movie. So last week, we sort of told you all about our experience going to the Los Angeles premiere of the Wicked movie. And then we sort of tried our best to do like a spoiler-free first viewing review. And then today, the movie is now out.
Yay!
As of today. And so hopefully everyone is going to see it. A lot of you have already seen it. So today we're going to actually do a little bit of a review on the movie.
In-depth review. We saw it a second time the other night.
Yes.
So first time was just overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't think I got to really watch to the extent of how I really wanted to watch.
We were in a state of delirium.
There was so
truly,
much. Yeah.
In the best way.
Yes.
And then
sitting down and getting to actually watch it in IMAX.
We made sure to get literally center. We were in the dead center of the theater, IMAX. They've got the Dolby sound and everything, so we could really just truly immerse ourselves in it.
Which is so good because our only really biggest complaint about seeing it at the premiere was it was just this huge symphony, concert stage theater room.
Yeah.
And so not only were we really high up and kind of far away, we saw fine and okay, but obviously that room was not meant for that type of sound and everything. So sound was our main thing at the premiere. But seeing it in IMAX,
theater,
there's parts where there's a big emphasis on Elphaba's footsteps a couple times in the movie, and you felt them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or you felt it when she grabbed the broom. It almost vibrated around you. And
totally.
It was exactly the sound we needed.
And I think also I realized, so people were cheering after every song or applauding after every song both times that we saw it. But the difference is the first time we saw it, that was people at the premiere. It was even more emotional. So the cheering was more, but also it echoed because of where we were. And so we missed a lot of the first bits of the part after the lines were missed, I guess.
We didn't get to hear the big end notes for a lot of
things. Or the big end notes because people were already cheering.
It's also all the cast was there.
Yeah.
So people were at a live performance, you clap for the
cast. There was more,
it was
exactly. So it was elongated, but it's not like a musical performance where performers stop and then continue when it's quiet again. So we really missed kind of a lot. I realized when we saw it in IMAX, being able to go right into the next part and it not be missed. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of jokes. There's a lot of jokes, whether it's Glinda or Firo or whatever, but mostly Ari things that I noticed. Because she has so many little quips, quirky things going on.
Or we said, Fiora's voice, Jonathan's voice at sometimes, granted, perfect.
Yeah.
But sometimes it was very low, and in that sound in the theater, I couldn't hear some of the words he was saying.
The only time it's acceptable for a man to mumble.
Oh, okay. See, we have so much to talk about. This is nuts.
I also have some yapping to do that has nothing to do with this.
We have 3 things to go over before we jump into Wicked.
Okay.
1, We hit 100 subscribers this week.
Yay, we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're so excited. Thanks for joining our little club and listening to us yap.
We just hit 30 not that long ago, and we were all
That's true.
We were all excited
Yay,
about it.
Look at us.
I know.
We love it. So
I was
thanks,
so
everyone.
excited.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And number 2,
Yes.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the I didn't even say that in the mic. Happy birthday to the High Lord of the Night Court and Bat Daddy of our hearts, Rhysand. And that's why I wore my ACOTAR shirt today.
I
was
realize
for
that
Reese's
now.
birthday.
And I really appreciate that, to be honest.
I know. I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't cry or anything, but it is a little emotional.
That it's his birthday?
That today is Reese's birthday and that we get to celebrate it with like all of our other book talk friends or booktube friends. Because like not even a year ago.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
I know.
And now we're
in it.
Now we're in this whole, it does feel like a community a lot of the time. Like we're in this whole group of people like us who obsess over over books and movies and all this stuff that love it just as much as we do. And the fact that like we were all online today, like posting like a happy birthday to this fictional man is like the funniest but most amazing thing ever. It's so good. I love it.
The fangirl life.
It's just so the fangirl life. It's just so like wholesome and I love it so much.
Like it's all fully acceptable to each other of like how we know it's ridiculous, but it's just also very true. Yeah,
because the series means so much to so many people. It's so awesome. Good job, Sarah.
Happy
birthday Reese.
To your child, Reese, Sarah.
Yay.
He's 500 and something
over
years
530 years old. Yep.
Anyway.
That's exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great.
I know.
What else?
And then third is what you want to go on about.
What?
What trailer did we get to see before Wicked?
Oh, God. Oh, this was the strangest experience because I knew this was going to happen. So when we went to see Wicked in the theater, at the movie theater, I mean, they played the How to Train Your Dragon live action trailer for the first time before Wicked. I was really excited about it. I'm an advertisement for Wicked gummy candies. So I am a big fan of the animated movies. I'm just a big fan of like dragons in general, and specifically like in these fantasy shows, movies, books that I have consumed where like dragons and humans have these very like loving relationships. And I guess I wasn't ready for this live action adaptation because the second I saw live action Toothless, who is just the animated version of Toothless, I burst into tears. And I didn't even know why.
He was so cute.
He was so cute. And oh my God, he's so adorable.
Because you're just picturing Abraxas.
But also, right, I am relating it to Throne of Glass and Manon and Abraxas. Because I guess I did picture Toothless reading Abraxas. I just think about Manon and her story and the end and Abraxas and all he lost. And I just am not, I think it's still so fresh. Like the loss is so fresh to me that I like, oh my God, I was a mess. And they didn't show much.
No.
They just showed Hiccup. And the scene where he's like about to kill the dragon, and then Toothless opens his big giant green eye, and that's it. And the score is so good, and they have the original director and composer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be amazing.
And Gerard Butler.
Huh?
Gerard Butler.
Playing who?
He voiced his dad, and now he's playing.
That's Gerard Butler?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They made him huge.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
The Phantom of the Opera?
The Phantom.
I guess I never knew that he voiced his dad in the animation.
It doesn't sound like
animated
him.
movie. Wow, that's crazy. That's so awesome. Phew. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely going to be amazing, but I'm nervous to see it.
Wowie.
I think also, though, a little part of me is like, this could have been... You could just make Throne of Glass.
1,000%.
It's not the same, I know. Both stories that I love, but...
Yeah,
I
but
just
like,
want Throne of Glass really bad.
If people are really gonna like, people are always saying like, I don't know if they could really pull off or do Akatar or Throne of Glass. But then I'm like,
I feel like Throne of Glass would not be the hardest thing Hollywood has ever done.
They've literally just been doing Rings of Power and like, it's practically the same.
I didn't mean that. I really love it, but right, that's
no,
exactly
but I'm just like
right.
heavy, big budget, fantastical creatures and magic.
Yeah.
It's very doable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We could go on.
After watching Wicked,
anything is possible. Okay.
Brooms, she's flying around. Like, what is the problem?
Things we'll talk about.
Yeah. Brooms.
Brooms. Flying. Flight.
This wicked
witch.
I think those were the 3 points before we jump in.
Well, did you fangirl over anything besides Wicked this week?
I really haven't thought of anything besides Wicked this week.
You're so lucky.
I know you've been on a rampage of other things. It's the only thing that I've been able to focus on. It's the only thing I can think about. And I'm absolutely obsessed. Well,
Yeah.
Outlander's going to come back this week too. So I'm
Outlander.
very excited about that.
That's great.
The second half of the very last season.
I have to catch
It
up.
hasn't started yet, so
Yeah.
I'm excited, but
I'm excited for you to finish Outlander so that you can immediately start Outer Banks. Outer Banks. The natural progression.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The way that I am 4 years late to this party. They have just released season 4 of Outer Banks, and it's kind of like the drama surrounding the filming of season 4 that I started seeing, and for whatever reason that got me to start watching it.
You love the drama.
I guess. But now I feel bad because I love all of them so much that I'm like, I regret the way that this started for me. But I am addicted to this show. I'm already about to start season 4. And I started it the end of not even a week ago. I love it. Perfect mix of like, how would I even describe it? It's like, it reminds me of like Riverdale and the drama and the crazy like storylines, but it's more cohesive than that. It's also it's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, and like your pirates.
I love pirates and One Piece and like the camaraderie and like the crew never breaking up and doing everything for each other.
Does it have a Stranger Things feel?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so.
Or just like group of friends teaming together.
Group of friends who like, right, the kids are solving all of these like insane mysteries and the adults are just like, what are you doing?
Classic.
But they do whatever they want. It's amazing. And the romance is so cute. It's so cute. It's just so delightful.
Really?
I mean, it's the most dramatic show I have ever watched.
Ever?
Like, these kids should have died. They should die at least 5 times an episode. They're always getting beat up or like thrown off of things or kidnapped or, held at gunpoint. Like, every 5 minutes, I swear.
Oh.
And they make it out every time.
Good for them. Are you ready?
Yeah. What was your biggest, like, pleasant surprise? Something you weren't expecting, maybe, that you were like, oh my God.
One of the biggest ones was that, like, Bowen was barely in it, but he's such a scene stealer in the best way.
His lines are the ones that I think got lost when we saw it because I think he did a lot of things following Glinda, and everyone was reacting so much to Ari that Bowen's like dialogue back would get missed. I caught so much more of it.
Oh my god, the one where he was,
night.
oh my god, I love your shoulder pads. As he's walking out the door,
exactly, so good.
Bronwyn too, like, and her one line that like really gets the most laughs almost throughout the whole movie. So we're like, oh my god, like raise your hand. Like,
oh my god, raise your hand.
Both times we saw it, I think got like the biggest laugh.
Yeah,
like
totally.
they were good, like good, solid two characters that I think really they encompassed the Shiz students in these two characters. Because we didn't have any time at all to focus on anyone else, obviously, besides, you know, the 4 or 5 main cast members. Yeah. So having those two, I think, was really pleasantly.
While also highlighting who Galinda was. Like, they totally heighten her whole, like, thing, her whole aura in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, it's very, like, Mean Girls. Like, she has
exactly,
her clique.
the posse.
Like, she has her 2 people that day one, they just follow her.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no, like, I love that there was no reason or explanation. They didn't show them even meeting.
Yeah.
In like 2 seconds, they're just following her around. And it almost was better that way because it just like showed the magic of Galinda. And they were just like, okay, we're going to follow. Like, they were just down. Did you have any surprises?
I should have been thinking about it while you were talking, but I was really invested in what you were saying about Bowen, and I agree.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think there was so much, and, you know, this also has to do with our own algorithms as Ariana Grande fans. I think there was so much Ari hype, which was warranted and absolutely proven to be everything good you hear about her is true. But that said, I do think for me, Cynthia got a little overshadowed by that leading up to the film. And so I was just really excited to get an equal amount of Galinda and Elphaba. And not that she surprised me, because I know Cynthia can sing anything and everything and perfectly. I was just really over the moon, excited and happy to see how she acted through all of her songs.
Her little facial mannerisms.
And I think also because we know Glinda as a character, like Glinda is so specific. While every actress has done her in their own way, she's still, you know what to expect, kind of. Whereas Elphaba, I feel like this was an opportunity to really play her a little differently. And I think Cynthia totally made her her own. And with the more political, like, aspects from the book, she was able to bring more out of her character through that.
In the stage, you don't get to see or really feel the empathy that much of Elphaba.
Exactly.
And coming out of it, Kenny, after watching it, he doesn't know the musical at all.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't know Elphaba would be the like moral compass of the story. And she just like really is. And it
absolutely.
Cynthia just, I don't know, she just got to capture this whole other Elphaba that you don't get to feel or see, because in the stage you have to act it differently.
I think the Dancing Through Life middle section is I think that's what most pleasantly surprised me, I guess, and excited me the most about Elphaba's character, is like the way she reacted to the reactions to the hat and her choosing to do what she did and where that led, but still had so much like sadness in it. Like, it was so complex. Like, Elfie became just so complex, and that's why everything that happens later is going to make so much sense.
God, that
she just brought so much out of Elfie.
A quick shot of her turning her head, and then Ari like grabs her face, and the tear that's like coming to
the tears were paid actors.
Oh my God.
In this film. I've never I've never seen so much like raw emotion in something like this, you know?
From the both of them. Just
Yep.
like, and even like, again, stage version Glinda is so showy, so big. Not only just is that who she is as a person and a personality, but it's stage acting. It has to be bigger, more exaggerated.
Yeah.
But with, again, in the movie, you get to see, like, yes, she's big and bubbly and has a huge personality, but, like, that is just who she is as a person. And she knows who she is and is so confident in that that it made sense. And it wasn't too over the top. It wasn't too, you know, this or that. It just was so cool to see, like, the comfortability of this character knowing exactly who she is. And then seeing that the same exact way mirrored in Elphaba, but again on that opposite side of that coin, pretty much, of just like seeing these different sides that you don't get to see just because there's close-up shots and you actually get to see their expressions and their reactions to each other. And it's
Exactly. No, it's like that was definitely the most exciting part. God, it's like being able to see. That's really what you dream of with like any musical coming to screen. Like this is exactly what we would hope for.
Yeah, it just feels like
just
I said,
an expansion of the stage version that we love so much.
Yeah, it just feels like I've already seen it before because it was just was the same thing. It was the same story and the same characters and all the music, a lot of the dialogue, but just in this different medium.
Right.
And it was so good.
I know. Yeah, I think, not to say, Glinda's character wasn't more complex in this one, because I think she certainly was. I loved just any scene where she was reacting to Morrible and Elfie together and all of that. And like, I like that they added more kind of oomph to her yearning to become a sorceress and like made sure that was an important like driving force for her. Because it made that dancing through life mid-scene so just that much more weighted.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I think
the hug that Madame Morrible gives Glinda at the very, very end of the movie is one of my favorite things in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because you can see in that 2 seconds the switch that Morrible knows she's about to take so much advantage of this little girl that is scared, heartbroken about her friend, her best friend that she's just losing right now. And like, it's just like, and she still knows deep down, Glinda's told her 1,000 times, it's my heart's deepest desire to be a sorceress.
Exactly. She's going to use,
she
knows what to use.
They make this eye contact, and then she hugs Glinda, and you can see Glinda, like, her, like, hand, like, tightens around her. And she just needs that comfort. And it's just, oh, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
classic
so
manipulation at its finest.
Obsessed. What is a difference that you really noticed from the stage production in the movie that you really like? Either reaction of it, but like, was there like a big thing that you really noticed? Or
this is why I had my little.
That's why you got nervous.
I was gonna say yellow dress versus pink dress.
Very
Emerald
true.
City, which doesn't freaking bother me at all.
No, but I do wonder, like,
why?
But I wonder much if, like,
maybe because they added that scene about the yellow brick road with the wizard, and it would have been a little on the nose if she was also wearing. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, well, let me think. I have no idea.
Okay,
you can talk.
Great. The biggest, this kind of just goes between anything that's like from stage to movie, but it was really magical getting to see the emphasis you get to take in a film of the passage of time.
Oh yeah,
that you really can't get too well on stage. And the biggest thing that like really just struck me was, what is this feeling? In the musical, that number really feels like a very in the moment
Right.
song.
Mm-hmm.
They're like in the classroom or in the hallway. Like it's just a very broad university setting.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just singing at each other. And then the students are coming in and out as the ensemble singing and everything.
Yeah.
But it just feels like a very in the moment song.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really understand in that time then of like how long is this course of time that they're at odds with each other or that they're fighting or that they don't like each other. But in the movie with that whole number, they showed different classrooms. They showed the cafeteria.
Yeah, so many locations.
They showed the courtyard. They showed almost like a gym class of them like fighting.
Yeah.
With the sticks. And it just, so it really got to show between their bedroom and they're shifting around the room.
Right.
So they're like, what, at least 5 or 6 different areas in this one song. So it really showed the emphasis that like they were fighting and arguing over a very extended period of time. It could have been quite a few weeks or months. We don't know. But I think that really got to just make you feel and understand the passage of time in this story.
Yeah.
And that there was just more in-depth moments.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
No, that was very cool. Again, it adds more, just adds more weight to it too.
Mm-hmm.
With more time, has passed, the more they know each other. And I like, by the end of that number, even then they like knew each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool.
They knew like what would tick each other off.
Exactly.
They knew like the little things. And then getting to see over time, like all the students were also teaming up against Alphaba. Like it was just very,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked that. And that got to show. And then also on stage, you are very limited to just the stage production and physical set pieces that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So with this, obviously in the movie, we just got to see the school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so beautiful. But it was just really cool getting to see
Yeah.
and feel more into this environment
Totally.
than you didn't really get to do too much in the stage production.
Agreed. I think, yes. Also, just the whole, as with the film, they can just be that much more intricate with all the details. And so, like, all the props and obviously Glinda's makeup cases and suitcases and like the way that they opened and like the cool, like how they're all like magical almost.
Yeah.
And like the costuming, everyone got to be kind of their own person in this movie. Whereas I feel like in the musical, the ensemble is dressed like very much all the same and they make up for more of like the background. Whereas in this, I feel like, it just made the world so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Yeah, it was mixing more different people and personalities rather than just making sure there's emphasis on these two characters.
Exactly, yeah.
Which then, made you feel, and especially like even just the defining shots and close-ups that we got to see of Bach or Nessa is like things you don't get in the stage production. They feel more in the background, literally, because they are. But with the movie, you get more specific shots of them and reactions, even without dialogue. Like, I think the cutest little scene between them in the very beginning is when Bach, everyone stands up because they're trying to see Madame Horrible as she's talking, and Bach can't see because he's shorter. He's from Munchkinland, and he's like looking over. He can't see past everyone because they're taller, and he happens to look over and he makes eye contact with Nessa, who is sitting in her chair and also can't see past the people who just stood up. So they kind of like make a face at each other. There's no dialogue, but that's such a cute, very quick reaction from these two characters that in the movie you're forced to notice because that's what they're focusing on rather than in the stage. Like that's something that you can't specifically pick up if you aren't looking at that character at that moment.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Did you have, even though I know we both rated it like 12 out of 10, did you have any disappointments or letdowns or things that you,
Truly the only thing I can think of, and this is just a me thing, this has nothing to do with the way that they did it. They had to, but I hate CGI animals, like CGI animals that talk specifically. So like this is impossible. This is like would be an impossible task for me. It just takes me out of it. Even though I thought it looked amazing in this movie, like it looked great. It's the best you can, you could possibly do with CGI, in my opinion. I loved Dr. Dillamond, but yeah, I just don't like CGI animals. So like those scenes are those are not my favorite scenes. However, I was going to say this too for our last point. I really liked how the movie did something bad. Like I like that it sort of, does this happen in the musical where it starts in this meeting like with all these animals?
No,
this is new, right?
Something bad is all
with Elphaba
with just Elphaba and Dr. Dillamond alone in the classroom
after the incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that same scene where she picks up his poppies,
yes,
and they're talking and they're like, oh, you have a friend. First of all, him saying, well, at least you have one friend, and he offers her his little hoof.
I thought that was precious. I didn't, I heard some people laughing at that, but I was like, no, that's so precious. I
laughed because I couldn't handle it. Because
so
it was
sweet.
The cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He said, well, maybe you have one friend. And he goes, and she grabs it. I was like, I can't.
It's so cute.
So sweet.
I loved Dr. Dillamond.
I know. But yeah, I liked the involvement of the separate, again, another separate location made us feel more in the world. And then we got to see other animals, which we don't see in the musical at all.
Okay, good. Yes. And I loved that.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably going to set us up big time for part 2, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure all of that is obviously going to come into play big time. That said, I really liked the animals that they chose. I loved the little who was that? He was like a little muskrat or something.
Yeah.
With like his mustache.
He has a huge mustache.
So cute.
I loved the sugar glider drummer.
Oh yeah.
In the band.
Yep. That was fun.
All the band members. Like, was it the roosters or the chickens playing on the keyboard?
You know what was a miss for me that I thought maybe would be cool if they'd added? When Elfie is starting her solo dance there. For a second, I thought it was going to cut to the animal band and they were going to start playing for her.
Aww. And
that, again, like, adds another layer to Elfie's relationships with these animals and how they have helped her, how she helps them. It's just a little moment that I was like, oh, that would have been a cute thing to see. Mm-hmm. But I guess it was also important that Glinda was the one to start that.
Yeah, that's true.
So that makes sense. But
also the dead silence is
killer. It's
wild.
Oh, God. So the animals, I guess. But that said, I thought it was still really well done. But I just, in general, unless it's like Planet of the Apes, I'd prefer no CGI.
No animals ever?
Yeah. Yeah, if anything, like Dr. Dillamond, the vision of him in the cage, like I can't do it.
Well, but that's what leads us to understanding Elphaba so
much. I know.
We're like, yeah, why is no one else like freaking out right now?
Absolutely.
Like her in the classroom, and she goes, are we all just gonna like sit here in silence? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And still no one says anything. I'm like,
I still loved it, and I thought it was so well done. If I had to pick one thing that was like my least favorite, it would be that.
But it's such an important part of the movie.
I know, and again, I don't think it looks bad. It's just, I guess, in thinking in terms of like scenes, like if the scene I disliked the most, okay, maybe the one of them all meeting up. But that's generally, like, I don't like the Something Bad song is not my favorite either. So I think that plays into it. Anyway, what about you?
I didn't really even have like any disappointments, but like I was just sad that because we've seen it in some trailers and teasers and things like that.
I know what you're gonna say.
I thought we were gonna get the cutest scene ever of them all skipping around in a field being best friends. With there's like really dreamy shots, and it's just like the shot of Glinda like putting her head on Elfie's shoulder, and Bach and Fiyero and Nessa, they're all just like hanging out.
Yeah.
And they're all just like friends. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so cute. It wasn't really in the movie. The only time they used it was the flashback in the very beginning. Then Glinda was like, oh, we were friends.
Yeah.
As in I knew her. Like, and that's the not even 1 second shot we see. And I was like, damn it. Because I loved all their outfits in that.
Yeah.
They all looked really young in those. Like, and I just thought it was going to be this really like.
Maybe it'll be a flashback in part 2.
Maybe.
To show again, like, if they look so young and
Yeah.
this is, and that'll be later on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Because that's a great shot. They're great shots.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think they just took some photos there too, because we've seen some like photos of that. So maybe it was just a press type of.
One of my favorite parts is all of them getting in the boat to go to the Ozdust Ballroom. Like those moments where they're all a group.
Friends.
And that's also sets it apart from the musical.
Yes.
Is like seeing the relationship between Fiyero and Bach and like him being like his little, you know, just his little like sidekick kind of, but not even. But Fiero's also encouraging him and they have this great friendship right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then seeing them all together is the best.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
I know.
Rather than it just being like Glinda sort of pushing Bach to the side. Not making fun of him per se, but, you know, like in the musical, it comes across more as like I don't really want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But in the movie, they're all so friendly with one another. And they all go to the Ozdust together and are just having fun. And I think the boat scene is so cute.
God, and that is so true. Like that's such a beautiful choice that they made, that they all made, and that they all really portrayed, and that I'm sure John, like in the direction of it, pushed. But it's just like that's what's gonna make part 2 even wilder.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be insane.
Yep.
Even the one moment of Bach, like, Glinda, you're wonderful, after she changes her name at the train station, and Nessa gets pissed.
Yes.
She doesn't say anything. She just rolls away.
They're setting it up,
and
man.
it's the very first second, then we're like, oh, she knows.
Yes.
Because every other time, there's not been any awareness on her end yet.
No.
So that's the first moment that we're like, okay, she knows.
Exactly. No, I love how apparent that like they make that moment. Great. They do such a great job of planting these seeds.
And then at the very end, we see Mayor of Munchkinland fall out of his chair and everyone's like rushing over to him. And I was like, wow, we're really going to go right at right into it. It's going to be crazy.
So good. Right. I think establishing all of them as friends like this, for one, I mean, on one hand, it definitely emphasizes like Elfie being ostracized a little bit when they make like Bach a bit more, you know, in their circle, kind of like it definitely sets Elfie more apart.
Because that also leads me into, in the musical, we never get an actual moment of people truly praising Elphaba before she leaves for the wizard, before she turns into the Wicked Witch or anything. Like, she the whole time is still separated, still judged, still looked at weird. But in the movie, when she's got invited to Oz and is on the train, and they're all like cheering for her.
Yeah.
They all like made signs. They're like, good luck, we love you. Like,
yeah. They don't involve that as much in the musical. It's just Glinda changing her you know, point of view. Yep.
But it was nice to see. One, it's nice to at least see Elphaba get that one moment.
Yeah.
At least before everything starts going south. But also, it's interesting to really see that's the beginning of what we really ever notice of Glinda's just effect on people and her like inspiration, and like people are like, all she did was go up and dance with Elphaba and now they're best friends and everyone's like, oh, we love Elphaba.
Yeah.
And it just like really shows the, even early on, the celebrity status that she has of just, there's something about her. Yeah. And there's the reason that she so easily becomes Glinda the Good and the influence that she can have and the effect that she has on people.
But that's probably what's really going to break them down in two, because all Elfie wants is to change the world, but she has no one on her side.
She has no influence.
All she needs is Glinda to help her, and Glinda could change everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's where you find how as powerful as Elfie is on her own with magic, Glinda has this other power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's where they're
We don't just see Elphaba's power
same
grow
but
in
different.
Yeah, we don't see just her power grow in this
Yeah.
movie. We see Glinda's power grow.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that picks the yellow brick road.
Mm-hmm. Right.
She has the influence. She
Right.
has the power over people that
Yeah.
Elphaba will never have.
It's true.
Like, she picks the yellow brick road. That was such a cool scene.
Mm-hmm. She's like, go back. No.
She's like, just go back one.
Yeah.
She's like, perfect.
Like to even convince the wizard, and the other people in power are also intimidated by her, and that's why Madame Morrible, the wizard, choose to look down, try and look down on her.
So good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So good. And then defying gravity at the end of like, that's why it's such an important moment of like that 2 seconds that they get to sing to each other.
Yeah.
They know how amazing it could be if they worked together. Right. But it's just insane that they're both strong enough in that moment. It's the hardest thing ever, but that's not what each other wants. And it's just the simplest act of saying, although I can't imagine how, I hope you're happy. Yeah. And they just want the best for each other. And they're going to support each other, but it's directly going against each other. And then so we get that, the friction that there's going to be in the part 2 is...
For sure.
Oh my God.
I know. God.
Anyway, we didn't even... there's nothing to... I was not disappointed about anything.
No,
There's nothing.
It's... I keep trying to be like, okay, I can't be biased, but I don't think any way you look at it, you can't have anything bad to say about it. I don't know. Like, it's just amazing.
Since we already touched base on it, how did you feel about we kind of touched base on this a little bit last week, but like it really didn't even feel like they added that much. It's crazy that the whole movie was as long as both acts, the whole musical. But one of the biggest things that they really did add was Elphaba's backstory and relationship to these animals. So you already kind of touched base that you don't like CGI animals at all.
No, but I loved, what's her name?
Dulcibert?
Dulcibert. I loved Dulcibert. Loved Dulcibert. And I loved that whole relationship. Because what happens in the musical is just their father just raises them and that's it. And I don't remember him being that, that harsh.
Okay, so there is... Interesting. I just never really clocked it before.
Yeah.
But the animal that does like help her mom give birth.
Yeah. The
is
wolf?
An animal. Has some sort of antlers or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess even in the musical it's kind of established that she has some sort of relationship, or this family has some sort of a relationship, but I wouldn't
never consider it to be the way,
the way they do it.
Yeah.
But
no, it's super important the way they do it in the movie. Yeah. No notes.
I think it just adds so much more understanding.
Yeah, for sure.
Of like why she's so.
Yeah. I loved her backstory. Little Nessa, so cute. Like the cutest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Yeah. You can't even do it as cute. No one could possibly do it as cute as she does it.
So high pitched. It's absurd.
Anyway, I got distracted because I just read that Ari is based on this this pre-Oscar nomination poll that they do. She's like second favorited to be nominated or whatever.
She better.
Yeah, I hope so too. 100%.
Oh my God, 1,000%. But I wonder, because there's rumors that they would do Cynthia as lead and Ari as supporting.
Yes, that's how I've seen it.
But I feel like they were both in it very evenly. That I guess they just wouldn't want to put them against each other.
It could be the simple fact that, well, it's both of their story, but it's marketed as how the Wicked Witch of the West.
But told through Glinda.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I think that's how they did it for the Tonys, though, right?
No, they were against each other.
Oh, they were?
But Idina won, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So it's probably like they wouldn't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Or maybe since it's 2 parts, they'll switch it in second part.
Maybe, yeah. That's true.
So maybe they both can win.
Interesting.
They both deserve it. Oh my God. Oh, how do you feel about some of these complaints that are coming up already about it? Which aren't very many at all. Rarely anyone.
I think and the point I wanted to make, because one of the complaints is definitely that the coloring is off, that the colors are like washed out, and then it looks muted. But, well, first of all, I think these are complaints being made based on trailers, which are, you know, it's widely known that trailers are altered so that it's not necessarily going to look exactly that way in the film. Like, it's probably going to look a little bit better in the film. Kind of like how you watch, like, trailers in a movie and they use a certain sound system or a certain, like, sound. But then once the movie starts, the rest of the sound comes on and it's like, whoa. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting here. Like, bottom line, these people, most of them haven't even seen the whole movie. Second of all, it's just not true. Like, I think it's plenty vibrant, and like, I don't know, I don't really get it. My main point is that if the only thing you have to complain about is some lighting, then it's a pretty great movie.
Oh, 1,000%.
That's a pretty amazing movie.
I'm also just like, it's funny because it opens up with "No One Mourns the Wicked," which is hysterical, thinking of like and listening to that song, but it is the most colorful thing in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Those first like 5
in
or
Munchkin
so
Land,
minutes.
yeah.
All of the flowers.
But also genius that they open with the black, like the pitch black tower where Dorothy has just melted the Wicked Witch, and it's just dark stone, the black hat, and just gray smoke.
And you hear Glinda's like announcement.
And then you hear her, and then it pans to.
Oh, it's so good. And then it goes over the rainbow. And then that's how you get into Munchkin Land.
And then you're in Munchkin Land, and you're exactly like you were saying. It's the most colorful thing I've ever seen. You know,
even all the Munchkins have bright orange hair. Like, it's just...
I think people are coming from a place of, like, expecting it to look or have the same color palette as the Wizard of Oz, the original, like, you know, the source material. Because, right, I'd say the coloring was a bit more like, I don't know how to say it other than, like, primary. Like,
But also, like, we don't want it to look like 2012, like, YouTube era, when
exactly.
everyone was oversaturated.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say, I think. It's like, it's very saturated.
Some of the grayer, darker, not saturated moments are that for a reason.
Yeah.
And I also think that's an important thing to, like, take into consideration. Like, all of Defying Gravity is in this dark attic, and it's dusty.
And it brings out the emotion in it.
Yeah.
Totally. I completely agree. And then that's what makes Popular the complete opposite of that.
The bright pink light that shines in on her at the end is so funny.
Yeah, it's very it's interesting. I think it's a movie, and Ariana talks about this, how specifically about Glinda, like, you know, you play her so big on a stage, but my job was to take Glinda how I knew her and translate it for film, where there is just going to be so much more emotion. And I think that also is correlated in lighting and color design and everything. And it depends on the moment too.
I think a lot of it also comes from people are also complaining that, like, they don't understand why they chose that shade of blonde for her.
So crazy.
Or that she looks too pale. But it's also, like, keep in mind that they probably were also trying to make sure she did not look like Ariana Grande, because she is a pop star.
Yeah.
So they probably did the exact opposite of what we know Ari as. So we lose that thought at all.
Yeah.
Which we did. I couldn't.
100%.
I know in my mind it's her, but I'm watching her, but, like, you can't even see it. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
I completely agree.
It's supposed to be like a fantastical world. She's supposed to look like ethereal and, like, kind of odd.
Yeah.
In a opposite way of Elphaba. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's like a little fairy, you know,
Yeah,
like
she
sprightly.
Yeah, yes.
Her movement, everything is very, like, that end of the spectrum of, like, a witchy, very kind of like character. And then Elphaba's on the other,
Yeah.
That's why she flies in a bubble. It's like very fairy sprite-esque.
Yeah, how pale and quite literal the color white and like light.
Yeah.
And like, could we make her? And I think they did,
She's like she's almost angelic to
Yeah.
all of these people. Like,
Yes.
she's just this otherworldly.
It's her influence.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I thought those choices were great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought her wigs were amazing. Her hair looked great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find common ground here, but it's hard. It's a very, they're so pleasantly specific of like critiques that I'm just like, all right, you got to pull from something.
Yeah. The ones that I will not accept.
The more serious ones.
And I'm like ready to fight anyone who even, because there's never an actual point. The only point I have seen, people are complaining nonstop now that they're suddenly now realizing it's in 2 parts. It wasn't a secret, first of all.
Nope.
Yes, it's not called Wicked Part 1, but like that's not cute. Like they didn't want to call it that.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a secret. Like some people are still confused, which I guess this is all my algorithm has been since February.
Yeah. We've been prepared.
I get that, I suppose. But the people that are complaining that it's in 2 parts, the one point I've ever actually seen is people just saying it's like money grabbing.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's why, sure, Universal might have agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Like if
it was a draw for them, probably.
Sure, maybe.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of artistically and just this movie, it would not have been a good movie if they tried to squeeze the whole musical into one movie.
Yeah.
Ain't no way it would have been nearly as enjoyable. So, like, people that are actively complaining, first of all, we just get an extra Wicked movie. Like, what are you upset about, first of all? But, like, I have not actually seen a good point as to why people are, like, bothered that it's in 2 parts.
I'll say this. It's akin to, and I'm allowed to say this, it's like you can't put all 3 Lord of the Rings movies in one movie. Like, they all serve a specific purpose. And, yeah, it's 3 books. That's 3 books. But you know what I'm saying? I think this, in terms of the storytelling, it makes complete sense. Acts 1 and 2 are different. 2 different musicals.
Also, Defying Gravity is one of the best, if not the best, ending of Act 1 songs ever.
Yeah,
ever.
100%.
I could not picture sitting in that movie, watching Defying Gravity, it going black, and then just going into Thank Goodness. And you're like, what? Like, it wouldn't have made it as impactful.
No.
You need that moment to be like, ooh.
It's gonna, when I imagine it in my head, like, it's so exciting to picture parts 1 and 2, and part 1 as like, graphics, very light and all of this, and then just a complete inverse for the second. It's gonna make them it's gonna make it a perfect pair, the likes of which none have ever seen. It's not, because it's not a sequel. Right?
No.
It's not a sequel. It is just merely a continuation of the same story. Someday we'll all be lucky enough to watch it all at the same time.
Can you imagine?
But it makes complete sense why they're in parts 1 and 2.
I will be so sad for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Every time.
Of course.
To rewatch both of these movies in a row all of the time. It's also a little like the time jump. Like,
right.
Just makes sense to split it up too.
Yeah. I already love it. I already love part 2. Can't wait.
I know. And the fact that we've barely seen anything of part 2, I cannot.
I know.
I need it. Oh, we've seen the one negative review of someone saying it's like nothing like the book.
Yeah, that's another thing. We don't need to hear how, we don't need to hear any comparisons of the movie to the book, because it's not it's not a movie based on the book at all, obviously.
For anyone who has not really seen the musical or / doesn't really know too much of it, that it's important to note that Wizard of Oz is canon for Wicked, but not the other way around.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, people going into it be like, oh, I love Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some things in Wicked that you're going to be a little lost on, even just the smallest stuff. Because it's not the opposite of that, like, Wicked isn't canon to Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
There's some slightly small changes.
Yeah.
So, like, same of like I mentioned that Wizard of Oz has also the red brick road that doesn't exist in Wicked.
Right.
It's never talked about or mentioned. And in the beginning of Wicked, you don't see it. It's just the yellow.
Yeah, it's just the yellow. Right.
So it's like small things like that. Because I don't want, not that this is going to stop anyone, but I hope that I don't really see any negative reviews of like, oh, well, it's not even true to Wizard of Oz because of this or this.
Yeah.
Bam.
Exactly. It's based on Wizard of Oz with its own embellishment. It's its own thing.
Basically, Wicked is the most successful fanfic ever.
Yeah, true. That is so true.
Did you have any other favorite moments or things or?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of favorite moments of the movie.
I know. All of them?
I think that, like, I kind of already knew this going in, but Dancing Through Life really just impressed me so much. Top to bottom. Jonathan, I don't know why I was so, like, maybe this is a surprise. I was, like, surprised at just how spectacular he was. Like, his movement was amazing.
Yeah, like he did that flip.
Sounded
yeah, all of it. Yeah, he was good.
So amazing. I loved Michelle Yeoh's moments. I loved the expansion of Madame Morrible. That one shot of her
at the end
when she's, claps and the monkeys all fly away and she like turns and slow walks towards the cameras. Just iconic.
So good.
The end of Popular.
Oh my God, it's literally Love on Top.
Yeah.
But musical theater.
Wow. I think it's like the most perfect thing I've ever seen. Like literally specifically just the end of Popular, her
like run through the hallway and like she's just jumping and spinning and kicking and
Oh, you know what I really loved, and this is like it these are things we loved about the Eras Tour. The added instrumentals. Specifically, the beginning of Dancing Through Life has this guitar on it that reminds me of, this is very specific, but my favorite song off of Beyonce's new album, Levi's Jeans, has this like plunky like guitar like dun, 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 and the beginning of Dancing Through Life has it, and it reminded me of it, and it's so specific, but I cannot.
Sets it up.
That is specifically what makes me so excited for the album to come out, so that I can listen to the beginning of Dancing Through Life over and over again.
The new
and the
so much of the
Popular
reorchestration in Dancing Through Life is insane.
Yes,
of like the moment right after it goes through life, and then he looks at them. And Glinda's staring at him, and all the students are right behind him, and they do the shoulder thing.
Yes.
Dun, dun. That's all new and fantabulous. I'm obsessed.
They sort of bring it, it's like breathing new life into it, is what it feels like. Subtle, because they keep everything from the musical. Like, every piece of music is there.
I can't believe they didn't cut a single thing. They didn't, like, stray away from anything.
Not at all. And, I hate to be the person that's like, it has to be the same, because sometimes, you can make artistic liberties work. Like, honestly, I would have been excited for a new song.
I wonder if they're going to do one in the second movie, because there's not as many songs in the second act.
It's true, yeah. So, but that said, the orchestrations were just so amazing. I was going to say, back to Popular, I think it's horns that they put in at the very end, like as she's like bouncing up the boxes to do her final pose. It's just so like so grand. Oh my God, like
they made it into like a number.
Yeah, they made it sort of showgirl, like old school showgirl kind of vibe at the end there for her. So cool.
I love it.
Just perfect, like little embellishments.
Yeah.
to some of the songs that was just they were perfect.
Which it's a perfect, like, it perfectly marries people who, like us, know this soundtrack
Yeah.
way too well.
Yes.
That we're excited for it to still be the same, but listen to new notes, new reorchestrations, new embellishments. But it's also perfectly still similar enough for people who don't know the soundtrack or the musical at all to listen to this new soundtrack and still get the feeling and knowing Wicked.
You get the same experience, same songs, same, just with its own flair. And yeah, I think breathing new life into it is a good way. Is exactly how I see it.
That's how it feels. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing, really. Like,
you know, that's what a big thing we talked about is really just, again, the perfect pair, the perfect partners of the choreography.
Yeah.
With Christopher Scott and the cinematography by Alice Brooks.
Yeah.
And so it almost makes you feel like, as the audience member, like the way they have the camera movements in some of these dances makes you also feel like you're like in the dance.
Yeah.
You're like so involved. And the camera movements are so musical. It's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just a static camera viewing everyone dancing across the camera. Like, it's really following in each step.
It's what
so
really
well.
still gives it that musical stage feel. You feel like you're in there.
Yeah. It's still a spectacle, right?
Yeah, it's so good. And I watched an interview that, like, John Chu was saying of, like, he's worked with both of those people for, like, 15 plus years each. And he said because of that, they just had this such deep understanding of working with each other.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they knew what he was envisioning. And he also envisioned certain things because he knew how they worked and what their work looked like. And it just was such a good, the three of them, I feel like it really.
Yeah, you don't really consider like creative partnerships in that way. You think of there's a director and they do their thing. Choreographer has their own set of days and they do their stuff, and how close, it depends on how closely they work together. That could make the difference, and it did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the three of them all worked on In the Heights movie together. And then she also worked on Tick, Tick, Boom. Which
Okay, she's a goddess.
Yeah, there was something about the camera movements with the choreography that just I didn't expect. I think that was my biggest surprise, maybe.
Yeah.
My biggest like happy moment of really watching the movie. I was just so ecstatic.
And like some of the choices with the camera too, even in moments that weren't musical, like, again, I'm always going to reference the their duet dance or the middle of Dancing Through Life, because that was the perfect amount of like, we know we're in this musical, but this is like actually a super dramatic movie moment. And it was so cinematic, but they also took some sort of like, it was also very artistic. I loved like the angles of them like shooting Ari through the crook of like Elfie's arm, and like it was just very specific to get just the right angle to show the emotion like on their faces. And like, and I think these were also moments where the lighting was fantastic, like just the tiniest bit of light, because they're in this underwater tank.
New and so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like they're in this aquarium almost. Yeah. And so those reflections are like coming down on like her, like Ari's face in these moments. The way some of that was shot was just so cool.
Yeah,
so
I
artistic.
love the very end of that number when she grabs Elfie's hand and they run off and run up the stairs. You can just see everyone starting the dance now, but Fiero's standing still and watching these two ladies like run away together. It's such a cool shot.
I love that shot. Yeah, I noticed that more in the second time we watched.
Yeah, my biggest advice is at least see it twice in theaters. Oh my god, I got to notice and really catch different things. I think just being so excited of 21 years waiting for this movie.
Yeah.
The first time I was just so overwhelmed watching it and so excited. But the second time, like, just really getting to watch it,
And I'm going to miss seeing it in a theater full of people seeing it for the first time. Mm-hmm. I've never felt that way before watching a movie. I haven't seen many movies twice in a theater except for Twilight, which I saw 7 times. So
it felt very like Infinity War or Endgame of like people have been waiting for this.
Marvel. Yeah, I've never, aside from the Spider-Man movie, the No Way Home, I've never been in a Marvel movie experience before.
Like that's what it felt like. Like people have been waiting for this. And like the anticipation was almost half the excitement. Just like you could tell everyone was just... Yeah. There's this one dude in the very front row, like everything that happened, he was like, woo! Yeah. Like he was so excited.
So cool. But that said, right, I'll be excited to watch it when things kind of die down and you can really like dissect it more. Because, you know, I think some of the things that I loved the most were the further connections to The Wizard of Oz. And in the music, I heard a lot more. Like I heard Somewhere of Over the Rainbow at one point. I wish I remembered at what point it was at, but in the in the background, tons of Wizard of Oz references.
When they played like the orchestration of For Good.
Oh yeah.
When they did their
like
dance.
All the time.
Well, when they specifically did their dance
no,
and they started dancing together and dancing through light.
Yeah, that's
too much for me.
Because there's so much. It's like because we understand what they're going to go through, you almost see the understanding like in their eyes already. And it's just so, it means something so deep to everybody who relates to it, you know, that you hear those first, all it takes is like 3 or 4 chords. And you're like, oh.
That's going to be insane. That number's going to be crazy.
Biggest surprise actually was definitely and it hit me again the second time is No One Mourns the Wicked when she's asked, but weren't you her friend? And it plays those few silent shots of them in the future or in the past, I guess at this point. The past of them in school, specifically the moment where they touch hands in the dance scene. And For Good plays a little tiny bit there too. And it's like, really? Especially people who don't necessarily know the musical and they don't know. And they don't. It's just like reading Assassin's Blade first or third in the Throne of Glass order, right? Because it's like you read it in Wicked.
You don't.
If you know the musical, For Good means so much now, and it hits emotionally now, but for people who don't know it or hearing it for the first time, when part 2 comes around and that full song finally touches down, it's going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be a whole different set of...
Ouch.
But I think it's better if you know it. And I think is exactly how we can prove our case for reading Assassin's Blade 3rd.
Because it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Because you already know things. Anyway.
Wow. So did you like the movie?
Yeah, I loved the movie. I will no doubt see it at least a couple more times in theaters. And
I don't think I'm allowed to own it once it comes out.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how I'm supposed to do anything else besides watch it.
I know.
Once I just have full access.
I really haven't felt like this about seeing the first time seeing a movie. I can't remember how long it's been.
And we get to do it twice. How special.
Yeah. I'm so happy that we weren't disappointed. I mean, I kind of knew we weren't going to be based on the cast and what we had seen in trailers and such, but
like to not feel any trace of letdown is wild.
It is. It's rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare. And yeah, I'm generally easy to please as well. But I hated the Into the Woods movie, so, and that's my favorite musical.
There's that.
So at least now I feel a little bit more, I feel redeemed.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
God, I'm now his biggest fan, biggest supporter.
And now I just want John Chu to redo all of the movie musicals.
Every single one of them?
aside from a few, but most of them. Beyond a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's everything we could have possibly dreamed of and more.
Mm-hmm.
I think all performances greatly exceeded my, not even expectations. I just knew everyone was going to be great, but exceeded my wildest like dreams.
Fantasies.
Truly.
God.
Yeah.
Waiting a whole year is going to be my worst nightmare.
Just this week, waiting for the soundtrack to come out has felt like the longest week of my life.
I
right?
know. All I want to do is listen to it, and
Yep.
I still cannot.
Will we be able to listen to it at 9 p.m. our time tomorrow?
I already have it
Me too.
pre-downloaded, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wonder what time it'll pop up on my phone.
Because that's how it usually works with albums
With
for
Taylor
us.
Swift is
With
what you were
Taylor
going to say.
Because otherwise, my old ass.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It
Because
has
I
to.
couldn't. Because when we listened to the anthology live,
That was so funny.
ain't no way.
What a surprise.
I would have been able to stay up if we had listened to it
At midnight.
at midnight. No, we started
True.
at 9 and went until midnight.
And then we
But-
listened to the album, and
Yeah.
then we're like, wait, why are there more songs?
Yeah. Those dropped at
'Cause she
midnight our
dropped a
time.
second,
2
yeah.
a.m. 3
I don't know.
Anyway,
It's fine.
anyway. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else.
We could still keep going, but
I think so.
I feel
Just
good.
overall, like, it was just amazing. And
In my top 3 now, favorite movies ever. So
yeah, one thing I was thinking was like, wow, like how special to be a kid getting this movie now, and it being your, like, I don't know, I think of some of the iconic great movies when we were young, and that being my movie to this day.
yeah.
Yeah, we can watch it. We'll be able to watch it anytime. Just crazy. I just feel so lucky.
I know.
It's a great time to be a fangirl once again.
Yeah. It's getting overwhelming.
It is. It is. Very overwhelming, but somebody's got to do the job.
After we see it a third time, we can talk about it again. Great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Until next time.
This wicked witch.
This wicked witch. This meeting of the Fangirls Club is adjourned. Wow.
It's underwhelming without a book to slap.
Bye.